In the early hours of July 31st, 1977, inside a dark Brooklyn park, a young woman named Stacy Moskowitz and her boyfriend, Robert Violante, were ambushed at point-blank range while sitting in their car. Stacy would pass away hours later. Robert survived but was left nearly blind, carrying the scars for life. That crime marked the end of a bloody wave that had brought the largest city in the United States to its knees.
He struck again over the weekend, shooting a young couple in a Brooklyn lovers lane, and today the girl died, the killer's sixth victim. He's wounded 7 others.
It's just scary, it's frightening.
When you're walking, people just look over their shoulder.
That's all they do is talk about the killer.
He walks up to strangers, usually couples in parked cars, and shoots them with a large...
A faceless man had turned New York's nights into pure terror. The press called him the .44 caliber killer, but he himself left behind a name that would go down in history. I am the son of Sam. For more than a year, his shadow spread panic across a city already battered by economic crisis, unbearable heat, and even a blackout that plunged millions into total darkness. This is the story of David Berkowitz, the son of Sam, the killer who made New York a place where no one felt safe. David Berkowitz was born on June 1st, 1953 in Brooklyn. His real name was Richard David Falco, but he was given up for adoption shortly after birth. He grew up in a middle-class Jewish family, taking on the surname Berkowitz. From childhood, he was troubled, impulsive, aggressive, a compulsive liar, and erratic in his behavior. He often locked himself inside a dark closet whenever he got angry. He suffered from depression and bursts of rage that no one around him knew how to control. At 14, he lost his adoptive mother to cancer, a tragedy that marked him deeply. From then on, he began developing a twisted resentment toward women, especially those who rejected him. As a teenager, he spied on couples in parks and fantasized about punishing them. Withdrawn, socially awkward, and insecure about his looks, he blamed women for his loneliness. That silent hate, which at first seemed like youthful frustration, slowly grew into a criminal drive. Later, after a stint in the army, he returned to New York filled with anger. That's when he began to give free rein to his fantasies. Christmas Eve, 1975. David Berkowitz struck for the first time. He attacked 2 women with a knife in separate incidents. Both survived, but this was only the beginning. Soon after, he changed tactics. He bought a .44 caliber Bulldog revolver, a powerful close-range weapon. With it, he would launch his reign of terror.
Police say the gun used in the killings came from this pawn shop in Houston. It was bought last year by a local construction worker, Billy Dan Parker, a close friend of David Berkowitz.
July 29th, 1976. 2 young women, Donna Lauria and Jody Valenti, were chatting inside a parked car in the Bronx when a stranger approached and opened fire at point-blank range. Donna died in her father's arms. Jody survived. The police had no leads. They considered revenge, a jealous ex-boyfriend, maybe even a gang connection, but nothing fit.
My wife comes screaming in the hall. They were shot. I ran down. By the time I got down, she was dead in the street. And that was it. There was nobody around.
It is a middle-class neighborhood, quiet and family-oriented. There's not much crime here, especially violent crime. And this happened late at night, right at the steps of the Lamina household, just as the girls were about to go inside.
I heard Joanne and Frank crying. So then me and my father got up and ran outside. And we saw them all bleeding on the floor.
Did you see anybody out here at all?
No, I just heard the shots.
Months later, on October 23rd, another couple was ambushed in Queens. The young man barely survived after being shot in the head. Investigators believe the attacker mistook his long hair for a woman's. The pattern was emerging. Young couples at night inside cars. On November 27th, 18-year-old Joan Lamino was shot while standing with a friend. She survived, but was left paralyzed. The attacks multiplied, and witness descriptions conflicted. Some swore the shooter was tall and dark-haired. Others claimed he was blonde. Police even suspected there might be more than one attacker. On January 30th, 1977, Christine Freund was killed by a bullet to the head. On March 8th, another young woman, Virginia Voskerichen, was shot in the face while walking home. There was no doubt anymore. A serial killer was on the loose.
Every night coming home from school, it was an easy passage for Virginia Voskerichen. Leaving the subway 2 blocks back, she would come down here to Dartmouth Street, turn right, and would then have to walk approximately 2 blocks more to Essex, where she would turn left and into her door. But last night, she only got this far.
It was pitch dark, and I saw a number of people standing around, and then noticed a body on the ground, motionless. Beautiful young girl. It just really broke it down.
19-year-old student at Columbia University, Virginia Voskerichen, killed while walking home.
Suddenly, a shot was fired at point-blank range. Virginia Voskerichen fell to the pavement with blood spurting from a face wound.
This is supposed to be a very quiet, low-crime area.
I thought so too. It's really a lovely area to live, and I enjoy it here. I like the area, but when 2 incidents like this happen...
2 incidents?
Well, the other shooting that happened over here a month ago, just, right around the corner from here.
We have determined that there has been a .44 caliber revolver used in every one of them, which is why, as the mayor mentioned, it's important that any person having information with respect to anyone who's in possession of a .44 caliber revolver, call us.
In each case, the killer used a gun similar to this, a modern version of the old .44 caliber pistol used in the days of the Wild West.
On April 16th, 1977, the killer left behind more than bullets. Near the bodies of 2 victims, police found a letter addressed to the captain leading the case. It was a bizarre message, filled with rambling phrases and threats, signed by someone calling himself Mr. Monster.
Mr. Monster.
Months later, another letter arrived at the Daily News, one of the city's biggest papers. This time, the killer revealed his true nickname. I am the son of Sam. He wrote that he wouldn't stop until he had quenched the thirst of his master, Sam. His letters spoke of demons, cults, and the so-called 22 disciples of hell. The impact was immediate. Mass hysteria. Young women dyed their hair to avoid matching the victim's profile. Couples stopped going out at night. New York, a city of over 17 million, was paralyzed by fear. Meanwhile, the killer relished the chaos. Every newspaper headline made him proud. He craved being seen, feared, remembered.
What I thought was one of the most disgusting episodes I've seen in journalism.
Are you suggesting that murder isn't a big story?
I think murder, as the story became in the papers, it was blown ludicrously out of proportion and with very unhealthy social results.
I mean, he just was going out 30 nights a month looking for someone to kill.
Did you ever have a moment saying, geez, did I cause this? Did this column trigger this nut?
No.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question that the police department was put under a lot of pressure by the press.
A slow Son of Sam Newsday would be 7 or 8 pages.
Detectives would walk out and they'd have the TV crew follow.
The New York Mafia is trying to track the killer down.
The press stoked Barkowitz, but it also incited 20 million people.
We used to stay in front of my house and talk, and kiss goodnight, but we can't do that no more.
An element of fear pervades neighborhoods which have not known fear before.
People wouldn't come out at night.
They're really scared. And I mean, when they're scared, that's all they do is talk about the killer.
Civilian patrolling has been stepped up in the neighborhood. Some women in the area are terrified, particularly ones with shoulder-length dark brown hair.
People going out cutting their hair and dyeing it.
They were bleaching their hair, becoming blondes. Literally at night, there are sometimes 1,000, 2,000 guys who were just out there patrolling, looking for this guy. Those phones rang 24 hours.
But you guys were everywhere. You shut down lovers' lanes.
I think all the motel owners in the city loved us. We forced everything indoors.
The summer of 1977 was the hottest in decades. Tensions peaked on July 13th when a massive blackout left the entire city in darkness for 25 hours. Looting, fires, and riots turned New York into an apocalyptic scene. And in that chaos, the son of Sam struck again. On July 31st in Brooklyn, he shot Stacy Moskowitz and Robert Violante. Stacy would die hours later. Robert would lose most of his vision. It was his last attack. And ironically, it marked the beginning of his downfall.
This evening, hospital officials said Miss Moskowitz remains in critical condition after 8 hours of surgery. She is given a 50-50 chance of living. Violante's condition is guarded. He has lost the use of his left eye and probably will retain only 10% of the vision in his right eye.
What can you tell me about your son?
We brought him up the right way. Good boy, never had any trouble. Never involved in any dope, never involved in any arrests. What can I say?
You told him to stay out of Queens.
I told him to stay out of Queens. He says, Dad, I'm going to stay out of Queens because he used to go to Queens. He says, I'll do it for you and Mom. I'll hang around in Brooklyn. And that's where they found him.
That same night, a neighbor noticed something odd. She saw a man lurking in the area, upset after receiving a parking ticket. She recognized him as a difficult neighbor, David Berkowitz. Police traced the tickets issued that night and found his name. When they searched his car, they discovered weapons and letters addressed to the investigative team.
The man come towards me, and he looked me straight in the face. He looked at my door, and right here, we crossed each other. So he had his arm straight down. He had a long thing, like a bell, sticking up his sleeve. And he made a left turn. I heard a boom. I didn't know he was a killer. I didn't know he looked nice.
On August 10th, 1977, David Berkowitz was arrested. When asked to identify himself, he smirked and replied, "I am the son of Sam." At first, he claimed he was following orders from a demon-possessed dog. Later, he admitted it was just an excuse to feign insanity. In total, Berkowitz took the lives of 6 people and seriously wounded 7 others. He was sentenced to 365 years in prison. Though the case seemed closed, doubts lingered. Several witnesses insisted they had seen other men at the crime scenes, some blonde, some with different builds. Did Berkowitz really act alone? Journalist Maury Terry spent years investigating and uncovered links to a possible cult known as the 22 Disciples of Hell. He even connected Berkowitz to acquaintances like the Carr brothers, rumored to be involved in occult practices. From prison, Berkowitz eventually admitted he had been part of a cult and suggested that some crimes may have been committed by others, but this has never been proven. Today, David Berkowitz remains imprisoned in New York. In the 1980s, he claimed to have found evangelical Christianity and now says he wants to be remembered not as the Son of Sam, but as the Son of Hope. He writes religious essays, mentors other inmates, and insists he feels remorse. But many doubt his sincerity. Over the years, he has changed his story multiple times, contradicted himself, and has never shown genuine compassion toward his victims. His case inspired movies, documentaries, books, and even a law, the Son of Sam Law, which prevents criminals from profiting by selling their own stories. The reign of terror of the Son of Sam turned New York nights into a collective nightmare. A lonely, bitter man obsessed with recognition managed to paralyze millions with the simple sound of a gunshot in the dark. Even today, his name still sends chills. But the greatest question remains. Was David Berkowitz truly a lone killer, or just one piece of a much darker network that never came to light? And now, the question is for you. Do you believe David Berkowitz acted alone, or was the Son of Sam just the face of something far more sinister? Your opinion matters. Leave it in the comments. Sometimes the audience writes the best part of the story.